Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the headlines. EDD management educates the public on measures to resume its activity. Trump ends U.S. relations with the WHO. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The press briefing on the COVID-19 by the Secretary General of the Health, Salah Bunaitat for today. 1,109 tests were performed, 280 positive cases on COVID-19, still contact persons, 45 patients were healed, and 2 deaths, unfortunately. The general assessment is as follows: 26,366 tests were carried out, 3,194 cases tested positive for COVID-19, 1,286 cases were confirmed cured, 22 deaths in total. Stay vigilant and please stay at home. Now, with the confinement, public administration employees also returned to their offices. A return also meant a reunion of colleagues from different parts of the capital, some of whom shared offices, which consequently carries its own risk with regard to the spread of COVID-19. Moreover, with the end of Ramadan, more and more users go to settle their administrative documents, another factor of contaminations. To face this permanent risk, Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, in a circular dated May 20, set out a management strategy for staff to reduce this risk. To optimize this strategy, and in accordance with the 20 May 2020 mechanism, the Executive Secretary in charge of the reform and administration will soon organize a vast awareness-raising campaign at the level of all departments. Objective: to make respect for barrier gestures a behavior to be adopted on a daily basis and during all working hours. The respect of barrier gestures in everyday life is as well as at the level of the administration and public institutions remain the best alternative in the fight against coronavirus. Office workers, executives, or members of the government must adopt this new behavior, the aim of which is to save their lives and those of the people they came into contact with. Wearing a mask is already part of the daily life of employees and users alike. Shift work, teleworking, placing vulnerable people on leave, or strict respect for staff on duty, the objective remains the same: to effectively combat COVID-19 in Djibouti. Now, the Director General of the ADD informs the public about the resumption of its activities on our antennas. It is in this context that the Director General of the EDD, Mr. Jama Ali Kelly, was yesterday the guest of the flagship program of the RTD Hananqatka Horumarka, entitled The Path to Development, presented by the host Mustafa Hassan every Friday. After having made the history of EDD, Director General Jama believes that EDD has developed a lot since independence, a development synonymous with the progress of our country. The director emphasized the barrier measures put in place by EDD by respecting the instruction contained in the presidential decree concerning the confinement and resumption of activities. Mr. Jama Ali Gheli answered questions from the population during the program, which was interactive, also from internet users. The autonomous electricity company has set up facilities for the payments of bills by setting up reception structures for customers at the People's Palace while waiting to open its counter in the near future. According to the Director General, a massive test of all EDD employees was carried out at the 3 sites at the Boulevard of the Republic and Central. The EDD users will be greeted by the employees all healthy and free of COVID virus. Some of the employees who tested positive have been treated. Barrier measures have been put in place for the reception of clients, for the payments of bills at the People's Palace, as well as in the other client reception centers. The Director Jama also has some questions of interest to the Djiboutian public in this period of the pandemic virus COVID-19 in our country, and on the future prospects of the company concerning the electric connection with Ethiopia and the diversification of the production, clean energy, or our country is well advanced in solar and geothermal energy. In short, the intervention of General Director Jama was successful with the participation of the public and the answers to the various questions of our colleague Mustafa Hassan. The answers to the questions were palpable and interesting for the Djiboutian population. Now, the National Association of Local Communities of Djibouti, comprising the 6 authorities of the Republic of Djibouti, City Djibouti, region of Al Sabih, Arta, Dikil, Tajra, and Obok, held on Friday, May 29, 2020, a meeting of its executive bureau in Tajra, chaired by Mrs. Fatima Awal Osman, Mayor of the City of Djibouti, and the President of the ANCLD. This meeting provided an opportunity to examine several issues affecting the life of the association. Thus, the agenda of this meeting focused on the following points: the adoption of an action plan from June to December 2020, the setting up of thematic commissions of the ANCLD, the contribution of the ANCLD and the local authorities in the fight against the COVID-19, the status of the ANCLD contribution. All the members of the executive board, without exception, were mobilized and took part in this meeting. After having discussion and dealt with the different items on the agenda, the executive board congratulated the different communities for their mobilization to the action of the ANCLD and for the effort made during these difficult times of the health crisis of the COVID-19. At the end of the meeting, several decisions were taken. In particular, the adoption of the action plan from June to December 2020, which dealt with the strengthening of human resources through the recruitment of a project manager, the definition of the communication strategy and the implementation of various communication tools, the continuation of capacity building activities, in this case training, the establishment of thematic commission of the ANCLD in order to involve all elected officials in the action of the association, the continuation of local awareness action on prevention measures against COVID-19, and plans in the coming days to offer masks to the population and extend the government action to support the most disadvantaged through the donation of food. The settlement of the various contributions before the end of June 2020. Each regional and commune president has been given responsibility for piloting a specific activity in the action plan. For the President, this meeting was an opportunity to discuss the many important issues that were pending because of the COVID-19 pandemic and to consider future action. This is why it is essential for us to join forces with the government on the action against the COVID, because the communities are not in reminder of this action carried out against COVID-19, having already undertaken actions at its level, the sensitizing and the distribution of the mask, as well as to live well. The proximity belongs to the local community. President Omar Hussein finally reminded us that it was necessary for all of us to move forward to a process of decentralization and to advocate to the government so that decentralization is, of course, the pillar of development. Now, the outbreak of the health crisis caused by the COVID-19 has had an unprecedented impact in our country and the rest of the world. However, it is not the only source of concern for the Gendarmerie Nationale. Our constitution has observed a new form of criminality that is not lacking in ingenuity. In order to prevent and deter the entry into our territory of all illicit substances since the closure of the borders, the High Commander of the Gendarmerie has taken measures, among other things, to strengthen the judicial units with human and material resources. That this was done in order to stop all infiltration of illegal goods. Of this context, the gendarmes of the Al Sabih brigade have recently noted an upsurge in the illicit trafficking of cannabis herb in the Al Sabih region. Intelligence gathering, observation, and surveillance operations have been undertaken to determine the point of entry of this illicit substance into our territory. To the surprise of the gendarmes, the cannabis herb circulating in the town of Al Sabih comes from a local bicultural cannabis. It comes from a garden in the locality of Asamo, an agro-pastoral area where the climate is conducive to a wide variety of crops. Aware of the magnitude of the case, the commander of the judicial group sent to Al Sabih the expert in drugs and narcotics of the Criminal Identification Brigade. This decision was taken in order to support their colleagues in identifying and analyzing this drug in the morning of May 29, 2020 at the 6 p.m. The gendarmes of the Al Sabih Brigade, accompanied by experts from the BIC, raided a garden located in Asamo. On the spot, they discovered 25 cannabis herb plants. It is a variety commonly known as Sensimilia. All the plants have been imported and seized. The operation also led to the seizure of 2 cannabis growers. One of them is an Ethiopian who came specially to teach the Egyptian traffickers to cultivation method. The Egyptian trafficker, the second person involved, was also arrested during the raid. During the interrogation, they confessed that they wanted to gain independence from the importance of Ethiopian cannabis. This in order to flood and monopolize the local market through their harvest. At the end of the flagrant investigation, they will be brought to justice to answer for their action. The High Command of the Gendarmerie takes this opportunity to reassure the population and reaffirm that no matter how ingenious these traffickers are who do not care about the lives of others, the Gendarmerie will not stop hunting them down if necessary day and night. Eradicating the harm they inflict on our youth is our priority. Now, Sub-Lieutenant Abdullahi Al-Rayali, commander of the Gendarmerie Company of Al Sabih region, gave a brief explanation on how his gendarmes dismantled this cannabiculture network. Moving on to the international news, Donald Trump has carried out his threat to cut off ties with the World Health Organization, which is accused of complacency towards Beijing at a time when New York City, badly affected by COVID-19, is preparing to resume some of its activities. The American president announced on Friday to put an end to the relationship between his country and the WHO, which he accuses since the beginning of the pandemic of being too lenient with China, where the coronavirus appeared in December before spreading on the planet. The United States, traditionally the largest donor to the UN agency, will redirect these funds to other urgent and deserving global public health needs, he told reporters. The announcement comes at a time when the pandemic continues to wreak havoc on the United States, Latin America, and Russia continues to plague the global economy and threaten to regain the momentum in South Korea. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful night.